again, boys and girls. It's time for social studies. So, before we start our social studies lesson, I'm going to read. I don't know if you've ever heard of City Mouse, Country Mouse. Well, this is kind of a similar kind of little reader's theater, but you're not here with me and you don't have the script to read. I should have run it off for you. But I'm going to read Country Cousin, City Cousin to you. Okay. So here it is, and here's the city cousin. As you can see, there's big, tall buildings, skyscrapers, there's some taxi cabs and busy roads. And the narrator says, City cousin likes the sounds of the city. The taxi cabs go honk, beep, zoom. City cousin says, I also like buying fruit on the street. There's lots of vendors that sell, or you can go to the grocery store and buy some apples at the store. The fruit seller says, apples for sale, oranges for sale, bananas for sale. City cousin says, I like the city, but I think I need a break. The narrator says, City cousin knew just where to go. He got on a train and went to see Country cousin. Country cousin says, Hi, I live in the country. I like big fields and quiet rivers. Sometimes I hear owls and frogs at night. Hoot, hoot, ribbit, ribbit. I like playing in the woods. I can be as loud as I want. And there is a picture of Country cousin. He's walking in the big fields. Country cousin picked up City cousin at the train station. Hi, cousin. It's good to see you. I need a break from the city life and all that hustle and bustle. Well, let's go for a walk and enjoy the quiet. The cousins walked down a country lane. It was very quiet. Hoo, hoo, hoo. What was that? It was only an owl, says Country cousin. I like the sound of hooting owls. We don't have owls where I live. I'm not used to that sound. The cousins kept walking, but City cousin was a little scared. Ribbit, ribbit. What was that? It was just some frogs. And here's a picture. You see the owls are hooting. I thought it would be quiet here in the country. Well, we have our own sounds. Yes, and it's still quieter than the city, said City cousin. Come on, cousin, let's get something to eat. Sure. Where are all the people selling the fruit? In the country, we don't have people selling fruit. We pick our own fruit. The cousins stopped at an apple tree. They picked armfuls of apples and then they went home and they made a pie for dessert. That pie was tasty. I like life in the country. Well, Country cousin says, next time I'll visit you in the city and you can take me for a taxi cab ride. And there you see the cousins picking apples from an apple tree. So in the city, there's lots of hustle and bustle, and there's different kinds of sounds. We hear buses, and we hear cars. We hear lots of kids maybe playing out in their yards and dogs barking. But in the country, it's just a different kind of life. It's a little slower. There's just different kind of sounds, especially like animal sounds, like the owl and the frogs in the country. Well, moving on, we're going to review about Independence Day. Remember yesterday I showed you the picture of our founding fathers, and there's a picture of them signing the Declaration of Independence. Remember, the colonists had gone to war with England because they didn't like the rules that the king was making for them, and they wanted to make their own rules. And so they decided to fight for their independence. And remember, independence is being free to make your own choices. Right now, mom and dad kind of help you make your choices. Maybe it's what you're going to wear for the day or what you're going to eat. But when you get older and you're on your own, you will have your independence and you'll be able to make your choices. And hopefully, you make good choices. So remember when we talked about there were 13 colonies in the beginning. It wasn't the whole United States like we have the map in our classroom, sorry. But these were the first 13 colonies that we had. And the colonists went to war with England and the king so they could have their own independence. So if you would go and find the worksheet that says 114 right here, and it looks like this, except you don't have the answers yet. Mrs. Collins kind of worked ahead. So if you'll get your name on it, and it says, think about what you have read. What makes Independence Day a special holiday for Americans? Remember, Independence Day is what we celebrate, the 4th of July, and we usually have picnics and we have fireworks and different things like that. But Independence was a very special day. So it says, write about it. What is independence? Well, do you remember what Mrs. Collins said just a few minutes ago? If you said it's being free to make your own choices, you would be correct. Good job. You have the right and you have the freedom to choose your own answer or to choose your own choices. So if you would write with a capital I, it is being free to make your own choices. Go ahead, and if you need to freeze it so you can see the words, make sure you have a capital letter and make sure you have a period at the end. And then you can unpause the video when you're done writing this. Of course, I know first graders are going to use their neatest handwriting, right? All right. The second question says, why did the colonists want independence? Why did they want the freedom to choose things on their own? Do you remember what I said earlier about that? Well, if you said they wanted to make their own laws and they didn't like the king making choices for them, you would be correct. So what you're going to do is you are going to write these couple of sentences. You can go ahead and pause the video so you can see. It says they wanted to make their own laws, and I have a period. Then there's another sentence. They didn't want the king to make choices for them. So make sure you have 2 capital letters and 2 periods there. And when you're done, you can go ahead and put this worksheet in the packet, and you are done with social studies for today. All right, boys and girls, one more video for science to do. See you in a little bit.